it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I want to talk about something that I saw happen on YouTube and then on Instagram. And I have some thoughts and I have some feelings. And I thought, hey, this might not be a normal topic and these might not be normal people that are covered. Well, one of them is. But it got me thinking about some of the things that can happen on YouTube and how sometimes content can become mixed or confused with concern and reality and assumptions and all that good stuff. So I follow a YouTuber called Jaclyn Glenn. Now, I interviewed her months ago when she spoke out in relation to Eugenia Cooney, and I talked with her in length over the course of months. You know, I've messaged back with her and, you know, sometimes I chit chat with her. I don't know her very well, but I will say that when I did speak with her, I thought that Jacqueline was a really nice person. I felt like she had a really good heart, that her heart was in the right place, and that overall her reason for speaking out for EC was from a place of genuine, I really care about this person and I care about their well-being. Well, yesterday, she actually uploaded a video about Morgan, of the Paul and Morgan show. Now, in the title of it, it's about how she thinks that Morgan needs to leave her husband because he is not a good person. Now, that's not the actual title of the video, but you get my drift. Lots of clickbaity words used to draw your attention to make you watch the video. I was drawn in by the title, and obviously I wanted to hear what she had to say because I follow Morgan, I follow Paul. I don't spend a lot of my time dissecting what goes on in their marriage. There's definitely questions I've had when I'm watching it, like, how did these two get together? They seem like such an odd match. Morgan is so outgoing and she's so opinionated, which isn't a bad thing. And Paul is also very opinionated. And so the two of them seem to have these personalities that are kind of like oil and vinegar. You know, they just don't mix because they're too similar. And he's sort of old school. And even though she espouses a lot of the things that he says, there's a part of me that thinks that maybe she doesn't always believe those things. But I have no proof of that. Let's just say there's just times where I've thought, does she think these things, or is she saying this because he thinks these things, or I didn't know what, right? So obviously yesterday I was intrigued because Jacqueline puts out this video which makes it seem as though we have all been misled about Morgan, because Jacqueline went on and found videos of Morgan from years ago when she was part of this cover band where they sang covers, and they uploaded them on YouTube, and she was one of the main singers. And because she sang secular songs that had just normal run-of-the-mill Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, Demi Lovato, Lady Gaga, all the biggest, stars. And Jacqueline assumed in this video that because, and I'll show you some of the photos here. So this is what Jacqueline found, was this channel called You Idol, where she sings songs. And Morgan has a really nice voice, okay? And she looks very different. She's glammed up. She's wearing makeup. She just doesn't appear to be the same Morgan that we know of today. Okay, this is also years ago. So she makes this assumption that this is Morgan's channel. She also makes the assumption that because she's listening to secular music, she must have somehow between this and the time she met Paul, her paradigms must have shifted and changed. However, Morgan on her own channel talks about how she likes secular music, and she also talks about how they have this disagreement about Paul wanting her to listen to more worship music and her saying, well, no, I really want to keep listening to Taylor Swift and all these other people because I like this music. So Morgan has also been open about how she's had a relationship before Paul, how she didn't wait until marriage, how things in her life were very different because she got involved in this relationship with this guy and she has regrets about it, okay? And then she's also very open about different struggles she's had with her health, right? Well, Jacqueline, obviously, I don't know if she saw these things and thought maybe that Morgan has never had these thoughts before, but I'll show you what Jacqueline said in a video.
Something between this version of her and the current version of her has changed. I mean, obviously it's changed, but not just in a small way. It's changed the core of who she is as a person.
Okay, so she says that she was a singer. She was in these videos where she was wearing racy clothes and singing secular music, and it was not religious, that Morgan had to have been not religious, and that something shifted. And then she spent the better half of the rest of this video basically saying that it was Paul that changed Morgan's thought process, and then it must have been Paul that's putting these thoughts into her head. And so she was blaming Paul then for Morgan having all of these thoughts, espousing these different beliefs on YouTube, which Morgan has a lot of opinions, let's just say, and I don't agree with most of them. Anyways, I was intrigued because I was like, well, I've never thought about this. This is weird. And then that made me go down the rabbit hole, right? Because, well, if Jacqueline says that, it must be true. You know, maybe she was this girl that was totally secular, that didn't have this relationship that she does now with Jesus. Maybe she wasn't into this world. So I was searching and I was like, well, is she on, what's her YouTube look like? What you know, then I found this. So this is actually on that page that Jacqueline told us to go to. And it's called You Idol, and it's a YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel, there's actually this interview with Morgan. And I'm not going to actually play the interview with Morgan because it has copyrighted music in it. But in the interview, you realize that this channel isn't actually owned by Morgan. In fact, You Idol, according to her interview here, reached out to Morgan and asked her if she would be part of a project where they would do cover songs and a way for like everyday people to feel like they could also be sort of rock stars, right? And this is sort of her story about how they found her on YouTube, they found her videos, they asked her if she wanted to be a part of this project, and she talks about some of her musical influences and why she likes to, you know, why she likes to sing, all this and that. So it's pretty clear that she didn't start this channel. One of Jacqueline's arguments in her video was that after she got married to Paul, Morgan stopped uploading videos on this channel. While it sort of coincides because the project didn't upload any content after they got married. They got married in July. The last upload on this channel is in June. It's interesting to note though, but Morgan's not the only singer on this channel. She's also one of several people that runs the project, and she's not the owner of the project because the project wasn't started by her. They sought her out. So Jacqueline was assuming that she got married to Paul and then stopped following her dreams. But it's not clear who actually owns that channel, and I don't think it was Morgan. Because how does someone reach out to you and ask you to be part of a project, which she says in this video, and then she's the owner of the channel? It doesn't compute. She was a part of the project from the beginning, but it doesn't sound like she ran the channel. Jacqueline made it seem like it was her channel, it was her Instagram. Now Morgan has had other Instagram accounts, but they weren't this account. Hope that makes sense. Okay. So I did some digging now, and I was like, okay, this is weird. Let me actually see what the truth is here. So I went onto Facebook and I found her mother and I found her father's Facebooks by going to hers. So I found like her mom had tagged her in some stuff, and I found her dad had tagged her in her stuff. Well, lo and behold, both of her parents are very, very, very religious people, and they're very into church. They attend a sort of a non-denominational Pentecostal evangelical church that's very into like the rock music and the worship music, sort of like Bethel. They are all about speaking in tongues, that kind of stuff. And her mom has photos of them at church, worshiping, praying as a family. She has things like this on her page that says, Jesus sets the example for you and me. We don't have to try to win approval for others. We have to understand that not everyone is going to understand us. Our focus should be on following God's leading. Let him order our steps. Our next time someone criticizes you, remember the examples of Jesus, overlook it if you don't get offended, and keep moving forward in the destiny of God has for you. I mean, and these are just quotes. I mean, and then when her mom and dad celebrated an anniversary, her mom wrote, "Happy 26th anniversary, Charles. You still make me laugh after all of this time. These 26 years have been filled with ups and downs, but here we are, still standing strong. God is our glue, and together we strive to serve him. I love you and all you have brought in my life." So one of Jacqueline's things was that Morgan must have come from the secular world. At least that's what I got from it. And so that she learned all of this through Paul, and that it maybe wasn't a part of her upbringing. But it's clear that through her parents, she must have been raised within the church because both of her parents post about it. In fact, her dad posts about it a lot, and her dad's opinionated. I don't even want to go into half the opinions he has, and they're not super PC. And Morgan has some not very PC opinions too, related to the LGBTQ, which her dad shares. So it's less likely that Paul is the person that she learned these things from, and perhaps more guided through her upbringing with her parents. She might have gone off kilter for a little while, or her version of off kilter, and gotten involved in a relationship and did secular music. But I don't think that Paul is the person that brought her to these conclusions, because when I was digging through Morgan's Instagram and on her Facebook, she was talking about her relationship with God well before she and Paul ever even had a relationship. So Morgan then responds today, and I gotta be honest, after I fell in the wormhole or the rabbit hole, I was as convinced as everyone that Jaclyn made it seem that this was a bad relationship. Listen, I don't know anything about their relationship. I think they're weird. That's just me, okay? But I don't know anything about their relationship. Are there things that concern me? Are there things that they say that they believe that concern me? Yes. Is there suggestions that maybe he doesn't treat her appropriately or the way I would want to be treated? Yes, but I'm not Morgan, right? Is there evidence that maybe he says things that are not nice to her? Yes, he's said them in videos. He's made videos about her weight. He's made videos about her, how he had to come to grips with marrying a woman who hadn't saved herself for marriage. He has a lot of videos where it almost seems as though he's the better one and she's the one that somehow got lost and he saved her, kind of thing. So are there clues that Paul's a doodlehead? Yes, but that doesn't mean that they have a relationship where she is in a situation where something is terribly wrong, which was what Jaclyn was sort of leading us down this rabbit hole of, like, Paul must be controlling, Paul must be doing these things, all of these things that she's thinking must be Paul's thoughts. She's looking to Paul for all of her thoughts and her feelings and everything, and Paul must be guiding all of this, and sort of lacking the forthright to say, well, maybe Morgan has these thoughts and maybe she doesn't. Morgan's opinionated, guys. If anything, I feel like Morgan has her own opinions, and I feel like she probably speaks up to Paul more than anything. So I've never gotten this feeling like she's a wounded bird, let's just say, or that she has no ability to actually, defend herself. And these are things that they talk about on their channel. When she talks about having to, submit to him, she doesn't like it. She even says so. So Morgan then responded, and she uploaded this, and I'm just going to show you real quick what she had to say to Jaclyn. And I'm not a fan of Morgan, but I do agree with some of the things that she said here.
So, I'm frustrated because Jaclyn Glenn, you have a huge platform and you are using it to spread false ideas, rumors about a human being's life. My life. You do not know me, Jaclyn. If you want to sit down and get coffee and actually talk one-on-one, I'm down. Let's do it. But don't make a video about my life saying that you are genuinely concerned when you have not for a second taken 1 second to message me privately. I've messaged you, Jaclyn, once. I've messaged you one time, reaching out saying I'd love to talk. You and I, let's talk. Didn't get a single thing back from you. What did I get? I saw in one of your videos you mentioned me. Again, you're constantly reaching out in videos, but what about the one-on-one connection? That is what we need more of. One-on-one connections. We watch these shows, we read these books, we listen to these podcasts that make us think that we are like these crime detective and
So one part of this that I do actually think is relevant, and she brought up a number of times. Now, this was 14 minutes. She has this on her IGTV. You can go to Instagram, and it's all there right now. That was just sort of at the very tail end. She goes through some of her concerns about what Jaclyn says. The biggest of being is, if you were concerned about me and you really did feel these things about me and you were concerned that I was somehow in this situation with this guy that was really bad, you would have actually made attempts to try to contact me, to which Morgan says here that Jaclyn never reached out to her. And so she felt that she's doing this because she's a content creator. She knows it's going to get views because her fan base is not fans of Morgan and Paul they think they're cringe, they think they're, they don't like them because Jacqueline is a prominent atheist vlogger. She says she's tried to reach out to Jacqueline and Jacqueline's never responded to her. So my question is that, and I see Morgan's point here, is if Jacqueline really did have an interest and really did want to make people, or felt like she was concerned about Morgan, why didn't she then reach out to her privately if she didn't? If what Morgan says is true. I don't know if that's true or not. This is just what Morgan says. Why then do you make the video? Is the video then made for clickbait to make people think? And then what are the ramifications of doing a video like that? So she says that they've been getting messages inundated with all kinds of stuff that's not nice messages. Paul's getting all kinds of stuff that you can imagine at this point where people think that he's doing things to Morgan. And she made the point that if you were concerned that I was in a situation that wasn't healthy, wouldn't this be the worst thing that you could do because it would put me even in a more dangerous position? And I kind of understood her point. So before we get excited and we go down a rabbit hole and we decide that we know people, I guess the one thing that we can take away from here is that Morgan isn't this like humongous celebrity, right? She's like an accessible YouTuber that we could have easily had a conversation with, which apparently Morgan says did not happen. Jacqueline has a good platform. It's over 800,000 subscribers. Paula Morgan is like 127,000. Neither one of these are small YouTubers, but at the same time, Jacqueline's platform is huge compared to Morgan and Paul. And so I can understand the pressure that puts down on Morgan and Paul. I think it's one thing for us to speculate and discuss and debate their belief systems and point out, like, I don't believe this, or I don't like what you said here, Morgan. But then to go into this whole, she's doing something, or she's in a position, or Paul's controlling her, is another thing. And then to get your fan base riled up, I kind of agree, is not okay. Now we can think these things and we can make videos about them, but where do we draw the line as creators? I always ask myself these questions. I respect Jacqueline still, but I don't think that this was the right move for her. And I actually kind of feel for Morgan in this case because I was able to debunk some of the things that Jacqueline said in her video. That doesn't mean I'm not going to still enjoy Jacqueline's videos down the line, or I'm still not going to watch her videos. It's just going to make me think more critically about not digesting everything that we take on YouTube as fact and making sure that we do our own due diligence. And if we are genuinely concerned about someone, I agree with Morgan. Reach out to them behind the scenes. Don't make a YouTube video about it. And as Morgan pointed out, was sponsored and had multiple ads in it. All right, so I want to know what your thoughts are. Listen, I don't got a stake in the claim, but I can't believe I actually agree with Morgan on this. All right, you guys, I'll be back later. Bye.